Welcome. Have you ever wondered why the price of your favorite snack suddenly goes way up, or why a brand new phone is suddenly everywhere you look? Well, it pretty much all comes down to one of the most powerful ideas in economics, the theory of supply. So let's dive right in.
Okay, let's start with something simple. Cookies. Imagine you're selling them for $1 each. You might bake a few dozen, no big deal. But what if people started offering you $10 for a single cookie? You'd fire up every oven you could find, right? You'd be baking nonstop. That exact feeling, that impulse to make more when the price is higher, that is the absolute heart of the theory of supply.
All right, so we've got the basic vibe down. But to really get a grip on how this whole thing works in the real world, we need to be a little more specific. So, what does supply actually mean to an economist?
So here it is. Supply isn't just the total amount of stuff you could make. It's about three key things: how much you're willing to sell at a specific price during a specific window of time. You see, if the price for your cookies is too low, you might not be willing to sell any at all, even if you have a pantry full of ingredients. It's that combo of willingness, price, and time that really defines supply.
Now, this brings up a really important point that trips people up: the difference between supply and stock. Think about it like this. Your stock is the entire 20-pound bag of flour sitting in your pantry. It's everything you have. But your supply is just the 3 cups of flour you're actually willing to use today to bake cookies to sell. See the difference? Stock is what you have in total. Supply is what you're offering for sale right now.
Okay, so let's get to the engine that drives all of this. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful rule that pretty much governs every seller's decisions. It's called the law of supply.
And honestly, it's exactly what you'd expect. It's just common sense, right? When prices are high, sellers can make more profit, so they're way more motivated to produce and sell more stuff. But when prices are low, that profit incentive gets weaker, so they sell less. It's a super simple, direct relationship. Price goes up, the quantity supplied goes up right along with it.
And this slide just puts some numbers to that idea. Just focus on the table on the left for a second. See how at a price of 10, the quantity supplied is 100? Now, just follow it down. When the price jumps all the way to 50, the supply skyrockets to 500. The graph you see on the right, that's literally just a picture of those numbers, drawing that classic upward sloping supply curve.
So, we've seen how the law of supply looks in a table. Now let's take a closer look at what it looks like as a picture. And it just so happens to be one of the most famous graphs in all of economics.
So again, just focus on the graph itself. This supply curve is just a visual of the law of supply. You've got price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal one. And the line always slopes up. This shows you just at a glance that as the price rises, producers are willing to supply more. It's as simple as that.
Okay, you're going to want to lean in for this part. This is absolutely crucial. If you can get this one distinction, you will understand supply better than almost anyone. It's the difference between a movement along the supply curve and a complete shift of the curve itself.
A movement is pretty straightforward. Let's go back to our cookies. Imagine the price drops from $10 to $8. Nothing else has changed. Your ingredients cost the same, your oven is fine. You're just reacting to that new, lower price by deciding to bake a little less. All you're doing is moving from one point to another on the very same curve. But a shift, well, that's a whole different story. What if the price of flour suddenly gets cut in half? Now your costs are lower. You'd be willing to sell way more cookies than before, even if the price was still $8. In fact, you'd sell more at every single price. This is a fundamental change in the situation, and it actually shifts the entire curve over to the right.
And here's what that looks like on a graph. Look at the image on the left. See how a change in price just moves us from point A to point B on the same line? That's a movement. Now, look at the graph on the right. Here, some outside factor, like that cheaper flour, has created a whole new line. The entire curve has shifted. More is being supplied at every single price point.
This table just boils it all down. If you remember one thing, let it be this. If only the product's price changes, you're just moving along the curve. But if anything else changes, your costs, the technology, anything, the whole curve shifts. That is the absolute key difference.
Okay, so if it's not the price, what are these mysterious other factors that can just pick up and shift the entire supply curve? Let's break down the most important ones.
These are the big shifters, the real game changers. For instance, the price of inputs. If flour gets cheaper, supply shifts right. Technology. A new, faster oven means you can bake more cookies with the same effort, shifting supply to the right. Taxes.
If the government adds a tax on sugar, it makes baking more expensive, and that shifts supply to the left. And if more bakeries open up shop, the number of firms increases, shifting the total supply of cookies to the right. Each of these changes the entire equation.
So there you have it, the theory of supply. It's not just some abstract idea or lines on a graph. It's the real reason a new smartphone gets cheaper over time or why the price of avocados can suddenly spike. It's happening all around you every day. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you're in a store, just pick up any item and ask yourself, what factors out there in the world are shifting the supply of this thing right now? You might be really surprised by what you come up with.